Welcome, and thank you for coming to this particular workshop entitled The Truth Method. I'm thinking I should have added a colon, like, what is the truth method? Contemplation in politics or something like that. But this is an improvement, I'll say an improvement, an edit on last year's workshop, which was also about contemplation in politics. What I aim to do in this workshop is to talk for about maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most, but then actually have you break into groups and actually do some practice. So this is mostly going to be practice. So it's so good to see a number of you here. And this is fine. This is great. So let me start with the context. And let me start with a quick story about why I do this work and what I'm trying to do and where I come from. So it's always good to identify, who the person is that's offering you information. I'm trying to solve a problem. A quick story. Trigger word has a racially provocative word in it, so I'm going to say that. I'm a young person at a grade school, at a private school out in Southside Detroit. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I'm at this elite private school, so almost kind of like a boarding school, but not quite. And I'm in class, let's say first, second, or third grade with a bunch of other students, and the boys and I, we go out for recess, back when you used to have recess. You go out for recess. And we're supposed to be on the playgrounds, beautiful grounds of this school. It's called Grosse Pointe Academy, actually. And we get out there, and these friends of mine, these are the people I sit next to and talk to and all that, about 6 or so of them, look at me and they go, hey, why don't you run over there, like that way, somewhere in that direction, and we'll chase you and we'll jump on you. And it would jump on you, and then we'll let you up, and you go run some more, and we'll chase you and jump on you. This game is called Nigger Pile. That's the name of the game. And this is a true story. So needless to say, that did not happen. And so this began my sort of exploration of how to solve problems like that, though. Right? I'm friends with these people, and yet there's something in the way. It's not like maybe being in Birmingham, Alabama, or something like that, with that kind of segregation. Something getting in the way of the kind of democracy that I know we all want, right? 2 elements of democracy. In any liberal democracy, you have two tensions. Two factors are in tension: freedom and equality. So in the Greek terms, these are parrhesia, which is kind of informal, personal truth-telling, and then isagoria. Isagoria is a same space. It literally means, so in Athens, people would have the agora, and everybody was welcome to come to the agora and offer their opinion. So that was isagoria. That was formalized. That was more legal. But parrhesia was sort of a personal impulse to tell the truth. Right? But you can see how these are in tension. So in constitutional law, if you take a first semester law course, constitutional law is simply, how do I balance the rights of the individual against the needs of society? Just same thing. Democracy is a never-ending conversation. That's my definition of it. A never-ending conversation. Anything that disrupts or halts that conversation is the source for oppression and injustice. This is where it starts. The minute the conversation stops in the name of nationalism or religio nationalism or race or identity or whatever it is, the minute the conversation stops, that's when democracy begins to crumble. So that's a problem. So go back to so the source, the way to get out of this is to, in a society, let me go back, in liberal democracy, you're supposed to have both parrhesia and isagoria in relative balance. This is, again, always the question. Here's what happens. When folks are on the margins, and you have margins and center, people in the center who enjoy privilege, whoever they are, can engage in both parrhesia and isagoria, right? They can engage in the larger discourse, and they also feel free at any given moment to express themselves however they want to do. However, folks in the margins are limited to just the isagoric. They cannot engage in their own truth-telling. This is one sign or one way to describe oppression. You cannot express yourself freely and fully. So how do we solve that? We solve that by going into parrhesia, going back, and so in this case we're going to go back to the classical era, recover what parrhesia is, right? And hopefully bring it forward and let it do its work. The different kinds of truth in the classical era. There's a prophetic truth, something we're all very familiar with here. It's just wonderful. God tells you, gives you the word, and you go deliver it. That's prophetic. Teachers. Teachers are professionals and any kind of technical skills, lawyers, doctors, so on and so forth. Technical truth. Philosophers, again, wisdom, logic, kind of rational truth. But there's something missing. So all of these are isogoric, right? These are the kind of skills that all participate in, sort of everyone has equal sort of access and ability to do that, even especially as you desegregate a society. Everyone has the ability to sort of express themselves this way. But this one is what's left. This is what paresia is. And paresia is not any of these other skills. The main difference is that the responsibility that inheres in paresia is absolutely your own, absolutely individual. You cannot say, God told me to do it, or my professional guild told me to do it, or logic demands it. It's absolutely unique to yourself. So real quickly with this, paresia is access through the apophatic. Apophatic versus cataphatic, probably familiar with all this. Cataphatic is where the isogoric lives. We live in a world of words. We engage in commerce. We do our jobs and so on and so forth. This is the cataphatic, right? We use words to achieve security, get things done. We are born very vulnerable and naked and insecure, and we work our whole lives to access various kinds of security, to ensure it, to make sure that we have enough of what we feel we need to get through. We also evaluate and judge, and so we organize our existence with words, constantly talking. There's nothing wrong with words. There's nothing. This is where we have to live. But the apophatic, few to no words, right? And again, you're all familiar with this, moving to the edge of consciousness. So now you're outside of those other disciplines of mastery. Remember yesterday, or maybe it was Friday, Professor Day was talking about surrender versus mastery. I don't know if you saw that at the opening panel. This is it, right? You're moving, apophatic moves you into surrender. You stop using words because now you can no longer access the world. You can no longer master it through your various skills. Slowing down, less security, no mastery. Art, we saw that beautifully last night right here in this space. Poetry, music, all that's designed to interrupt, right? Slow down the rational mind. Slow down all those words. You don't need as many. The poets are great at that. They can say a whole lot with just a few words. That's the beauty of what we saw last night as well. And then, of course, music. I mean, my goodness. Natalia, incredible. It's also kind of like a Zen koan, Rinzai. You're familiar with that? You use the koan. It sort of interrupts. It stops your thinking. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually practice this method of paresia. We're going to try and access through the apophatic our own paresia. That hopefully will bring us all to sort of a better understanding of what it means to be vulnerable, similar to what Reverend Wilson was presenting last night, this place where we can all sort of engage and access the wisdom of each other, right? We can, that's sapiential. We can all sort of experience the being of the other person instead of separating ourselves into our various cocoons of security. So hopefully that'll repair our democracy. So there's three roles in paresiastic play. They call it play. In ancient Greece, in Athens, it would have three roles. The basanos is the interlocutor. It's the person who's asking the questions. Right? The paresius is the truth teller and the truth seeker. This is the person doing that work. The third person is the witness. This is a person who's just there as a companion, holding the space. So when we do our practice, the basanos, you assume responsibility for the process. And each of you are going to get a chance in groups of three to practice with each other. So I just want to get you warmed up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. As a basanos, you're going to begin inquiring of the paresius. What is your truth? What do you believe? Why do you believe it? What's going on? So on and so forth. You're going to begin to gently inquire into truth. Stay alert, awake, aware of what's going on in the process, right? And it's play, it's a serious play, but it should have some element of delight in it, if you can. The paresius, because we're only going to we have three of us, we have about a half hour, three of you in the group. We're only going to do about 10 minutes each per person. It's very quick. This is a tasting menu. This is not a full course meal. You're going to leave going, oh, there's so much more I could do, and you might not even get to where you want to be, but that's okay. This is just a taste. So what makes it work, though, the more willing and open and honest you can be at the beginning is what makes the process work even in a short period of time. I got to put "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." That's Michael Jackson song. So just hang in there. Just don't really hang in there as long as you can as you're Parisians. You're getting pushed a little bit. The witness. This is the God space. This is the represents God in the space. Right? You just bear witness. You're just there. During waiting, you're patient. Just be still. Don't move. Right? Remember, you're just in the background, so to speak. But you're there. You're very present, but you're transcendent in that kind of way. Don't move. Don't critique. Watch your own thoughts. Try and stay present. Just simply be there. Any questions so far? I'm sure there's some. Okay. This is mostly a learn by doing kind of thing. And online, we're going to break into breakout rooms as well, and groups of 3, and do the same process. So if you have any questions online, please feel free to ask. Yes.
So for me as a religious person, I have in a democratic space, in a political space, what is that person representing or holding? What is that role for?
Yeah, I put that down because we're my PTS. So it's a reference point. Everybody will kind of get it. The godly one. I know what that is. But yeah, absolutely. This is the rest of us. This is society, right? This is society. We're representing. This is the representation of our society, of the democracy itself. We're holding each other. Each of you is going to get a turn. So along with that, some things to keep in mind as you're practicing. 4 warnings. The person doing the pasanos is going to get all kinds of insights and want to chase after them. It's like thoughts with meditation. Don't chase those. Don't chase. Oh, I know what your problem is. I got you here. Have you thought about, no, just keep inquiring gently, pushing, just ever so gently. Impatience, be careful. Don't rush. Right? It's okay. The person it's their process. Has anybody done group spiritual direction so far? I don't know how many people are familiar with that here. The peer listening circles. Yeah, you're familiar with this kind of attitude, right? Don't push. Be very gentle. Ego. Wow, look what I did. I got that person to, I did that. No, you didn't really do that. Parisians did that, but with your help. And a sense of accomplishment, right? Look at, you're trying to chase an achievement. Don't try and chase an achievement. There's nothing to gain here. This is only about being present. 5 aims, A, B, C, D, E, achieve contact. You bring it down, connect, stay for the duration, hang in there with the person. Intimacy is a hard place to be. This is a very intimate process. It's difficult to stay. Stay with it. Stay with the person until the 10 minutes is over. And then end well. This is going to be very quick. So, but even if so, try and end well. With just sort of a gentle, bring a person out, thank you, whatever it is, something gentle. It doesn't have to be a prayer or anything like that, but just a recognition that work was done. 6 hindrances. This sounds very Buddhist. Defensiveness. These are things that might come up. Now, I put this on here so everybody can be aware of what might happen. The Parisians also should be conscious of what might occur. But the Basanos, watch what's happening. Defensiveness. You might get, somebody doesn't want to do it. Just somebody doesn't want to do it. So before we do that, we're going to kind of consciously agree as a collective to sort of take care of each other and agree to this process and sort of just open ourselves up. So hopefully we won't have much of that. Resistance, mistrust, right? The person you can't get that contact going. The person continues to kind of not respond to the questions of why. Guardedness, evasion, these are all things that all of us are going to experience, all of us go through at some point. If this were easy, the world would be a better place. It is not easy to do this. So we're going to experience some of this stuff. Anger, transference. You're asking me about something I don't want to think about. So I'm going to get ticked off. Right? Pastors probably know about this, right? People who preachers know about this stuff. Hopelessness. Frustration, fatigue, this is tiring, it's exhausting, it's emotional work. It's very hard. And you can get, And then 7 cautions, just to be clever. It's safety. Safety is paramount. That is the primary rule. You've got to keep it safe. At any point, a person can stop. Parishioners can say, okay, I'm done. That's it. I can't do it anymore. All right. So, the way to do this, begin with a question. And the question doesn't have to be anything initially provocative. It can simply be, what do you care about, right? What's got you going in the world? What headline stirred you this morning? Or what issue, whatever it is, something just like that, just to get the person to something to hang on to, a prompt, right? Something to start from. Non-judgmental, keep it simple, just keep asking why in various ways. Why can get a little boring. Why? No, but reframe, restate. What does it mean? What do you think? Why is that important? Something like that. Watch for signs of the apophatic. So this is actually a contemplative process, but it's done dialogically back in the classical era. So in the classical era, friendship was the model, right? They didn't have, you didn't have Christian God at that point. So friendship was the way that people engaged in moral formation. You'd have a friend who would interlocute with you and push you. But as it moved into Christian spirituality, this apophatic dimension comes along. St. Anthony, and then even to some extent Augustine, begin to show us how, as you engage in a kind of dialogue with God, the apophatic arises, right? The words come less frequently. This is Anthony's great discovery in the desert. Right? You don't have the words anymore. You run out of words, which is the whole point. Words less frequently. Gaze starts shifting. You start, I'm going to get to that in a minute. But you hit this cloud of unknowing. All of a sudden, the answer is, I don't know. That's the moment you want to reach. That's where you want to be. That's okay. The I don't know part. The words are not working. It's not happening anymore. The mastery is surrendering. You are a companion, right? So just remember, treat each other as you want to be treated. It's very simple. So, how do we know where we're going? Now, some of this I said already, but this is signs and signals of what's going to, what you might want to look for. Again, this isn't a process of achievement or accomplishment, but if we're going to guide each other, we at least want to be aware of what's happening, kind of like good pastoral care or chaplaincy or whatever. Again, slowing down, responses come less frequently, less easily. Some of us can tell our stories very easily. Yeah, I had this trauma. Not that that's not true. In my experience, however, if someone's actually engaging with that experience, with that pain, the words don't come as quickly. It's not as easy to tell that story. I just told one myself, but if I'm really feeling it, I'm really working with it, yeah. And we're going to practice. I'm going to demonstrate this in just a moment so you'll get to see. I'll be the parishioners. Hesitation, fidgeting, like I said, anger, fatigue. I don't want to do anymore. Person in all kinds of ways can show that they're not there. They don't want to go. Sadness, lament, tears can come. Be very careful. Get some tissue, pass around. Ignorance, again, fear, I don't know anymore, I'm anxious, whatever's going on. And then maybe the unexpected, who knows? Somebody needs a hug. Somebody needs to be held. Anything can happen in this process. Just be aware. Okay, so before we go there, we're going to pray in just a moment, sorry. But let's collectively agree, and online as well, that we're going to take care of each other. We grant each other permission to explore and be curious about each other. We're in a zone of confidentiality. Whatever's expressed here stays here. So that builds the trust. And if necessary, perhaps we can touch each other. So I just want to sort of a general consent. Does anyone abstain from this particular? Anyone uncomfortable? Yes. Sorry. Understood. Very clear. Anyone else? So everyone who's, if you're working with, please remind me your name.
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay, I remember from last year. Yeah, good to see you. Anyone working with Sarah, just be aware. Don't touch her. Anyone else? Anyone else? Online? but still, the same things hold, except for the touching. Everything else is in play. Okay, so we have a general. Okay, very clear. Okay, there you go. So this is Reverend Audra Wilson, presented here yesterday. All right. So with that, let's take a moment and just pray. Bring ourselves again into a space of openness and willingness, possibility. As much as possible, prepare ourselves for surrender, not just to God, but to another human being. Amen. I say amen. So, shall we get started? Now, with that, let me ask Reverend Wilson if you would join me up front. Let me quickly demonstrate a quick way of doing this. Do you feel comfortable doing that, Reverend Wilson? Okay. And let me bring a couple chairs. Let's grab. So again, we'll break into groups of 3, and I guess you can self-organize. I don't know if there's there's an odd number of folks in here, but hopefully it can work. If there's someone left over, we'll work with that. Or you could do 2 as well, but 3 feels safer most time. Right? So, okay, you're going to be the Basanos. I am the Paresis, and unfortunately, I'm sorry, online you can't hear her with the microphone. Oh, you can. All right. Tech. There you go. Speaking and shall be given. So basically, we're going to review the roles. So real quickly, you're the Paresis. You're going to be asking me why. I'm the Paresis. You're the Basanos. You're going to be asking me why, and you might ask me some initial question about what I care about, and so on and so forth. What troubles me, or you can name a controversial issue if you really want to be provocative. What do you think about, trans women? I'm going to respond and then just continue to ask why, and in various ways, and then we're going to do this. Now, I'm creating this as a drama of sorts, right? I'm acting in a way, but this is how it will go.
So, Leonard, what do you think about Black masculinity in the culture right now?
I think black masculinity is too narrow. It's too small for whatever reasons, and I don't like some of the definitions of black masculinity.
What definitions do you see that you don't like?
I don't like the ones that are hyper masculine. That really bothers me. I don't really care to be hyper masculine. I want to be told that's what I have to be. Because around the time when I had that experience in the playground, my father grew up in Detroit, Michigan, wanted to make sure that didn't happen to me again, or I used to get my bike taken from me in the neighborhood. He'd buy me a new bike every couple months. And it would get taken from me. So he decided to do something about it, and so he takes me in the backyard and puts some boxing gloves on, and I have no idea what's going to happen, and then he just starts beating me up, toughen me up, and make me into a man. I don't want that to happen to anybody Okay, so. I am. Thank you. Very quickly, it's very quick. It's still real. Something about working with another human being. Of course, we all pray to God, and that's wonderful, and we should. But something about another human being being there that just does it. So, any questions? And we can just go ahead and break into groups and get started. Yeah. What's that?
That comment was made, something about the human being. Right? I'm in these spaces that I'm a lot more comfortable with. Like, as a witness, I can pray. I want to pray over you. That's just my initial, even if I'm sitting there. Because even though you've been sent for us to witness to you, there's a part of me that's like, wow, I feel like a lawyer.
Well, you're.
Yeah, if I'm not, like, that I just wanted to name that that's something I was feeling. Not quite knowing, can I pray for this right now or not?
Yeah, very internally. It's nothing, you don't want to interfere at all. If the witness, something like that comes up, let it be. Let it be. Remember, this is a God presence. Not that, of course, God doesn't care or doesn't pray for, but you're there. You're holding the space. And providing safety. Yeah.
I would gently be curious about is maybe what is the ambition of what it's enough, or what does that bring up for you in terms of to say for whatever another person. So like my experience was noticing Leonard making eye contact with y'all and not me, and needing to check myself about how much I was going to move my chair or not. You know, like all of that, right? And so like I'm having to like check inside myself. Am I going to gently make an offer? My eyes are here if you want them, or am I going to force it, or am I going to stay my ground? And I wonder, as a witnessing presence, when I feel that need, I need to come in and pray for the person, or I need to, etc. Like, so what is that for me before trying to figure out what it is for the other person? This is not my field, but that's what it makes me curious about.
Yeah, that's excellent. Nothing. I mean, use maybe perhaps when it's your turn as Parisius, perhaps you use it. It's something to take away. Again, this is a very short process, just a taste. If we had more time, maybe hours or even days, we'd flow into that. It'd be great. So, yeah.
Please. Another question. Just the person reached out, not to say it right. Do they bring the question, or the interlocutor just picks a question?
You could pick a question, Reverend Moore. Yeah, was it? Yeah, you just jumped right in.
I just picked a question.
Yeah, I know, I saw that. Originally I had thought, oh, you asked the person what's on their heart to bring. So.
Yeah, what's troubling you? What do you care about?
So it could be either way, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, Parisius tried to, again, be there as quickly as you can. Yeah. So you get some real taste of this. And listen for hindrances, right? Know when to stop, as your Basanos be, Basanos. Right? Okay, that's enough, we're good. Witness, stay awake, try not to anticipate or rehash. So it hasn't been your turn yet, and you're going, oh, okay, when I get my chance, I'm gonna let it be. Stay there, stay with it, stay with the other person. Or if you've already had a chance, oh, I should have, didn't. No, let it be. It is what it is. This is a faith element for those of us who believe in that kind of thing. The faith to this. God will fill in the gaps. Every 10 minutes, just rotate. And we're getting started late, so actually that clock is fast, so we're good. Okay, I think, just about. All right, great, fantastic. Please, I'm going to wander around. If we have, wow, it looks like I see groups of three. I see 4 and 4. I don't know if John's like, I didn't hear anything. 1 to 3. I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, we're not ready. So we stay with 4. Yeah.
I don't know.
You should. Okay. All right.
For being an extra.
Okay.
I could do that here. I could do it small.
Very generous, but okay. All right, well. So please, I'll wander around if you have questions. Yeah.
Do we do just one round with one goal, or do we just change up?
Yeah, so everyone gets a chance to be Parisians, at least about 10 minutes or so. Anyway. Truth teller, everybody gets a chance.
Ask her.
Sorry, interrupt. One quick noticing. Rev Wilson brought it up for quickly. Let the Parisians do whatever the Parisians needs to do. Yeah, you don't have to, it's okay. If they avoid your gaze, that's part of the work. It's okay. Let it happen. But no, thank you for bringing that up.
I know, I'm sorry. I didn't hate you. You start.
Thank you.
But it also makes it hard because of the history. It's really, just give up. Right, right.
Yeah. Section is on separation or on training. So thinking about how that's vigilance. Say gaining some sense of meaning from acquired capital. System in which this better person themselves, where that's how it's but
Passionate, so I felt you were US.
That's not realistic.
But I also
That's sentiment, much more on putting barriers in place.
we're both spiritual directors.
This feels like spiritual direction. I just thought we were at the
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's missing.
Yeah.
And I've been there. 15 months ago.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but no, it's very similar.
That's,
Yeah, it really-
it seems to me like it's, but it's
It's an extension of that moment you were clarified.
Sure. Without the definition. It's terrific.
Oh, is that what it is?
Or just, I mean, I'm just, that's pretty nice. My go-to is
Yeah.
spiritual direction, right? But I don't think we should be differently. Okay, okay. So kind of where it starts from is maybe what's different. Is it assuming this that you're starting with a particular ocean question, a particular issue, respond to how
Yeah, you're trying to do something
The
that's,
best way.
this is meant to work with that baby.
Yes, so what as she resonated with
And or
were similar, so she was saying like that, she had seen me as the other, and I said resonated. That's what this is all about for people that come. Learn, see how that would work on contact.
Thank you.
You need to take one of those roles. It's very
I think you're the apathetic now.
I think you are. You can call us up.
I like that kind of thing. It's good for me. I like it. Just kind of tell them about the experience so you can actually kind of get away from that because you know about my experience. So I could turn it into like I would tell you about what I do. And so it's like in that moment, it's like, okay, I can go there, like, or I can choose to stay in that. Yeah.
And it takes courage to stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Courage to stay.
Yeah, yeah. But then your question after that was really good. I use it so many times. I was like, whoa, I haven't thought about that.
So, right. That, yeah.
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 And it's much more freeing to not be there, to be painstaking, to be flattering. I'm okay. I'm probably not okay.
Right.
But I'm trying to learn to be okay. It's, I wouldn't say it's I would say. Something I feel like so we tend to
Excuse me, everyone. Excuse me. Pardon? Please excuse me. I know we're actually coming to the end of our time. I apologize. This workshop is only an hour. I know. Maybe next time I'll have more, but I apologize for those in mid-sentence and mid-share, so really thank you, though. Just want to get some quick feedback. We'll just take a couple of moments to do a couple quick things, housekeeping. How did it feel? Any just quick observations? Sure. Does it feel okay? How are we doing? Please take a moment, if you need, please take a moment to finish your share or finish your sentence. Again, I apologize, it's so short. I remember when I was doing CPE, I did a year of chaplaincy residency, and we would do these groups, and the supervisor would say, okay, time's up, that's it. You gotta get up, and you hope next time it'll come back. But it was very kind of jarring. Anyway, how did each role feel, or how did all? You can answer all these questions in any way you feel. Just if you have any observations, we're just about at the end. Marie.
Surprisingly, just based on, I guess, my presumptions I made about each role before entering.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Before entering each, I had an opportunity to be in both roles. Before entering each role, there was a presumption I made about each role, specifically around vulnerability, with the presumption that the responder, the Parisians, would lean into, experience more vulnerability than the persona. Did I say that correct? But in both roles, there was equal vulnerability for me. Yeah.
Thank you. Is this for you? Something you'd like to try again? Yeah.
So BJ and I are, as we were talking a little bit, our spiritual directors, and so I love this. This is totally right up my alley. And I would just be really curious to hear more about the situations that you use it in. Maybe I'm jumping ahead, but.
No, you aren't, actually. That's wonderful. Yeah, this process, I designed this to deal with conflict, right? Political conflict in communities that are just really, I have one person I'm going to be working with at the end of the spring semester, a church that's preparing for the 2024 elections, and they're very divergent. And immigration is a big problem, big issue. And so anyway, it's designed for that. So people come with this energy already. I mean, you kind of had to jumpstart it a little bit, but they come ready to, boom, they got it exactly, and it's charged, but this is a way to kind of, and again, not resolve conflict. Democracy is built for conflict. You're supposed to have conflict, built for it, but to make it work well, right? To be constructive conflict. That's what this is designed for. And some of you know it's very similar to group spiritual direction. It's that moment in the group spiritual direction process where the person has shared and there's kind of clarifying questions and maybe something like that, or even reflections. That's when you begin to sink into that moment, though. You stretch that moment way out. That's what this process is kind of like. Yeah. And let me just wrap up by saying this is a model of friendship. This is a methodology of friendship. You're trying to establish friendship in the classical sense, right? Not the little I like you on Facebook kind of sense. Not that. We're not friends. I got 3,000 friends or something. No, this is the genuine, actual working with, being with, honesty, disappointment, I don't like, all that stuff that you all know goes into a good relationship. Healthy tension and discomfort, right? It's supposed to not feel great or easy, I should say. And recommend all these books. Great. They're not explicitly about this process, but prepares the ground for this kind of work. So wonderful there. And my consultancy is Common Ground Dialogue, cgdialogue.org. And I'm at the Pacific School of Religion if you ever care to dialogue further. Anything else? Any observations? I do want to say at the last moment, we had feedback online. Did I also not miss that?
Deborah said that she felt heard in the session. Samantha shared that it felt tender, a privilege to be listening.
So in political conflict, remember, if you notice, this is not a common ground kind of like we're all going to agree, right? This isn't about agreement, right? This is about trust. That's the parisiastic part of our society. The rest of it, right now in our democracy, I think one of the things we're suffering from with the polarization is nobody trusts anybody. All that is, it's gone, right? You can't trust the president, you can't trust the Supreme Court. Everything's politicized, everything is up for some kind of expertise, that old diagram. Everybody's using those things to gain mastery over everybody else, win at all costs. That's a problem. A democracy can't survive without Parisia. It needs it. It's part of Athens, right? It's when stuff.
Deborah mentioned that the role of the Masana seemed difficult. Samantha said that I was trying not to do spiritual direction.
Yeah, you try.
But stay with you.
Yeah.
With what you were saying, or just kind of.
Yeah. That's the difference. There's no reciprocity. You're just there. You're a guide, a companion. Anything else? Okay. I just want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate it. If you have any feedback later on, please feel free to reach out to me or catch me. I'll be here through tomorrow. So look forward to seeing you all. Thank you very much.